Hello. Welcome in, my YouTube friends. How are you doing today? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. Come on in. Let's chat. Let's talk it out, honey. Hello. My YouTube friends. Come on in. So tonight I want to talk about, and I hope everybody's doing well tonight. So I want to talk about some nutrition no things, okay? And my subject tonight is leveling up on my nutrition. So I talked to my Becoming in a Circle, did a video for them. So if you have not seen it yet, please make sure you go watch it. Some interesting information that I put in there. Talking from the heart, yes. So tonight, and I don't know if y'all can hear that noise. My computer is revving up like an engine, honey. Oh my gosh. So I want to talk about, like I said, tonight. And first of all, just welcoming everybody in. Any new subscribers that may be coming in, I do appreciate you tonight. I appreciate my Becoming Inner Circle. I appreciate everyone that's coming in the chat tonight. I greatly appreciate you all for taking some time out of your busy day to come and see about Kim J. All right. So uh, come on in this chat and give me some let's talk, let's chat it out tonight. All right, so um let's see. Now I'm gonna have tonight, I got a little drinky drink that I'm drinking tonight. Okay, so y'all, if y'all see me sipping, this is it. I have some kombucha. It's the Synergy brand. Yes, it's the real kombucha, y'all. 9 billion living probiotics in here. So, probiotics is good for your gut health. And this flavor is the Gava goodness. I'm sorry, the Gava goddess, y'all. Yes. And so this helps your gut bacteria to make sure that you have enough good gut bacteria. Yes. And so I'm excited about that tonight. I did just finish eating a little pizza, so, I love pizza, y'all. I love like some different types of foods. I like, of course, American food. I love Italian food. I love, what else? Foods I like. Mexican foods. Those are probably my go to, foods. And then some other sprinkles of other things as well in there. American probably is the top of my list, but, yeah, I do love a Mexican and a good Italian dish as well. So anyway, I'm on my better health journey, and I've been on it almost 2 years. 2 years. The 30th of this month will be 2 years. Sorry, 2 years. I started my Mounjaro better health journey. Trying to lose weight, making sure I'm better at health. Actually, I started a better health, I should say, what July 11th, when I came home from the hospital after I found out I had type 2 diabetes. Yeah, uh, like on July 3rd of 2024. And so they put me in the hospital. I had to wait. I had to, be in there, get my sugar to go down some, and things of that nature. And so finally, I was able to be released on the 11th of July of 2024. I started, out the gate trying to make sure I get my sugars under control, well managed, and I was able to do that, with the help of insulin, as well as the help of, me just making sure I go very low in my carbs, because I know carbs can, um, make your sugars go up, right? So, hello, Tamika. She is Tamika. How are you doing? Thanks for coming in, sweetheart. Thank you for coming in. Y'all, if y'all have not checked out my sister's um, comeback video, y'all check it out. Check it out. If you're not a member of her channel, y'all need to be one. Okay? Yes. She's coming back with the vengeance, y'all. Okay, I had to say that. I'm sorry. Back to this live. Hello. Hello, hello. The Boss Way. How are you doing, sweetheart? Thanks for coming in. I hope you're doing well tonight, both of you. So yeah, so I'm talking nutrition tonight, y'all. And so what I was, kind of just sharing with you, if you haven't heard me, is that I'm actually about to, go into my second year. Thursday, is that Thursday? Yeah, Thursday, July 30th of 2026. That's, 2 days from now. So I started my Mounjaro weight loss journey on July 30th of 2024. So yeah, so I was just kind of telling like a little rundown about, and it actually segues into this message of, my nutrition, which is what we're talking about tonight. So when I found out I had the type 2 diabetes on the 3rd of July, they put me in the hospital. They put me on insulin right away, trying to get my sugars down. Got my sugars down. When I went, a nutritionist talked to me in the hospital, gave me some information that I need to help me, lower those blood sugar levels so that hopefully my A1C would lower at least to 7, to a 7, my A1C, right? Then that means that it's more manageable. And they kind of like, okay, no, it may not be in the normal range at 7, but at least it's more manageable, right? Just to get to a manageable level, okay? Through nutrition and through medication, right? So I did ask my doctor to come on Mounjaro, or what have you. And so they told, to start to prescribe me that. And so she did. But of course, it took a few weeks to get to that point. Yes, truth be told. So, me going home, they sent me home with insulin, 2 different types, fast acting insulin so I can eat, so I can take it right before I eat. And then the slow acting insulin I will have to take every night before bedtime. But I needed to do something with my nutrition as well. So I knew at that time, because I, knew some people that were, diabetic or what have you, some doing what they're supposed to do and some was not. Okay. And so even though people may take insulin, does not mean they're going to change their nutritional habits, right? So I talked to God about it. I asked God to help me with this journey. I was used to eating what I wanted to eat. Okay. My nutrition was whatever I liked. Okay. So I did eat at home, but I also ate, out quite often as well. Right. I was never like, I wasn't a so-called sweets eater. I like salty, savory dishes more than sweets. Yes, I did eat sweets, but it wasn't something I had to have. Just every now and again, I would want something. Now I live in Florida, so Publix, when we have Publix cake, this is something that I would want, and I would want 2 to 3 slices of it. But like just on an average day-to-day basis, I didn't care, to have, all the different cakes and cookies and, snacks and honey buns and all that stuff. I didn't care to have all that. I wanted, the savory foods. That was just me. All right. And I was never one to eat a buttload of food at one time, but my calories probably at the time was pretty high because I ate, a lot of fried foods, with grease, or oils that, packs on a lot of calories, it packs on a lot of fats and things of that nature. Um, I ate my carbs, I ate, rice and potatoes and fried French fries and all that stuff too. Yes. I love meat. Meat was probably the most thing on my plate, right? Had to have me some meat, but I also had to have some carbs, and I wanted the vegetables. I can have it. I don't have to have it. It didn't matter to me. Even though I like vegetables, it wasn't like a go-to. Same thing with fruit. It was not like a go-to. I didn't have to have fruit. I didn't even really buy fruit that often. So that was how it was for me, pre my, better health journey. Okay. So the diabetes thing, it was kind of like, well, I hate that I, was given that diagnosis. It was a blessing in disguise because it helped me get my whole life together. Okay. Or help me get together. Okay. I'm still trying to get the whole life together, but truth be told, but I decided to do something different. Okay. Something I had never tried to do before in a, more like a long-term type thing. So diabetes got away with some people, where it makes you want to do something different, start eating better. I'm like, I'm getting, oh, I'm getting older, right? So I needed to do something, and I want to keep living. I want to have a healthy life. I want to have a um, fulfilled life, and I want a long life, right? So in order to do that, I need to change some things. So I know my mindset had to shift, right? So I started eating very low carbs because I knew that would help me lower my glucose levels, and I knew that I didn't want to be on insulin for a long time. So I had to figure something out. And so like I said, I prayed about it, and God showed me, the way of how to go through things. And that's why I said I needed God to be the center of my, journey. And so, at while I was waiting on my Mounjaro to be approved, I was doing the things that I needed to do to get my sugars down, eating better, low carb, and that helped me out a lot. I was able to get my A1C down 3 whole points, okay, which often is very hard to do in 3 weeks. Yes, so I went from a 15.1 to a 12 in 3 weeks. Just taking the insulin as well as doing the things I needed to do as far as eating low carbs, right? Um, my protein at that point wasn't like, I wouldn't consider a high protein because I wasn't thinking about that. I was thinking about is getting my sugars down, okay? And so with that being said, I knew low carb was it. And I thank you all for coming in. Let me keep say hey to some more people. Hello, Shani. How you doing, sweetheart? Thanks for coming in. Hope you're doing better. Uh, let's see. Everybody's saying hello to one another. So Tamika says she loves pumpkin cake as well. Okay, you like the raspberry cream cheese frosting. Okay. Yes. I got you. Now me, I like the regular vanilla cake with the sweet cream ice and the buttercream ice. I know a lot of people are like, oh my God, that's too sweet. No, I like, if I'm gonna have cake, I want it to be sweet. I want it to be sweet. Hello, Virginia. How you doing? How are you? I'm not really big on eating fruits like warmed up, or whatever. I like it in its original form. So yeah. But I know a lot of people love like, the raspberry preserves and the strawberry preserves and all that. I don't get down with that. I don't get jiggy with that. But anyway, yes, Publix cakes are so good, y'all. At least to me. At least to me. Or my Floridians, my fellow Floridians. So anyway, so yeah, so that's what I did, and that helped me out a lot. Like I said, it got me down, to 3 points, my A1C down by doing a very low carb regimen, right? And so I wasn't really on a diet per se. I was just, low carb, right? Very low carb, not keto, but low, almost keto, almost keto. So anyway, during that time, after I was called to a endocrinologist to help me with this, new diagnosis of diabetes. You know, I went there. He was already amazed at what I was able to, how I was able to get my A1C down so fast, and my blood sugars were looking better, as well, of course. And so, I told him I was on a low carb, regimen. I was doing intermittent fasting. I was just doing a lot of things that I learned about that was going to help me get those carbs. I mean, get those sugars down, right? And so that same day, I went to that endocrinologist for the first time, which is very good to have an endocrinologist if you're trying to, make sure you manage well your diabetes. Okay. They also can help with hormone therapy and, just a lot of things. If y'all look it up to see why, one would want an endocrinologist, but my endocrinologist definitely helps me, when it comes to managing my diabetes as well as managing my hormones. Okay. He actually prescribed me hormone replacement therapy as well, because I'm a woman of a particular age, tender age of 52, and I'll be 53 in like 2 months. Wow. So yeah. Thank God I don't look like, what I've gone through. Okay. Y'all know I have type 2 diabetes, but I started off with this obesity, right? Then high blood pressure, after I had my last baby, then I went to years later because of uncontrolled high blood pressure. Blood pressure's in the 200s over 100s, which is crazy, right? I don't know why it's like, why for me, it seems like I always have to be like way above the norm, right? So, with that being said, I end up having kidney disease, stage 3. And I'm looking at my blood work all these years thinking, okay, I'm in a normal range. It shows the green, right? But they don't normally tell you, doctors, until like when you're at stage 3, like when you're under 60, your EGFR. If you look at your blood work, it's called EGFR. They look at that. That's one of the main things they look at when it comes to kidney disease. And so once it goes under 60, that's when they're like, oh, you have kidney disease. And so when they tell you that, you're already at stage 3. So it's like, okay, I wish I would have told me that earlier. Because when I look at, as a consumer, all I'm looking at is green. If I'm seeing green, I'm happy, right? So not looking at, all the, fine print on the, on say the Quest website or LabCorp or whoever use for your, to, do your labs. But anyway, so yeah. So when I'm talking to the endocrinologist, he was excited about where I was, but he thought I was going to be on that medication, the insulin, for at least a year, if not lifelong. Okay. That's what I guess they are used to seeing. But lo and behold, me starting this Mounjaro journey and me doing, the low carb regimen, that helped me get my A1C down and my blood sugars down very, very well. I was able to come off that insulin like in 2 months. And actually, even before the 2 months, I was able to titrate off of it. They had put me on a sliding scale after so long, because they're like, your sugars are pretty, normal, even at the end of the day. So don't even take that night long acting insulin, because you're doing so well. So keep up the good work. We may be able to take you off of it by the time you come back in September of 2024. So, all that was happening. I kept doing my thing, with the regimen that I was on, and that worked. I started tracking, my foods and everything here and there, not fully, not 7 full days, but I was tracking my foods and everything because that's what I heard we should do, and that's when I got into these macros and the macronutrients, how many carbs I'm eating, how many proteins I just need to be eating, how many fiber, and how much fats I should be eating, or what have you. I start using the MyNet Diary tracking app, and that's now kind of come on up to today. Okay. So I decided that I wanted to, it's worked for a while. What I was doing was working for a while. I started upping my protein. I started upping my fiber, and it was helping me, with my A1C, as well as helping me with, losing weight and everything. So I was happy about that. Of course, as time progressed, the weight started slowing down, because at first I was, at over 2 pounds per week that I was losing. Okay. I needed to lose weight. That was part of that better health journey. So that's why, I continue to talk about it today. Right. But my mindset shifted. It wasn't just about the weight, or what have you, even though I was an important factor of it, but it was about, the getting my health markers in check, making sure my A1C was in check, making sure my high blood pressure was in check finally for all these years, and all of that worked. All of that happened for me. So I was excited about it. Right. And then, like I said, losing the weight, so with the things that I did, it worked. So I'm gonna get back in this chat real quick, and then I'll get back to it. Yes, all is well. Thank you. I hope all is well for you, Virginia, as well. Good to be back, and I'm doing good. Thank you. All right, Samika, I'm happy you're back as well. I know everybody misses you, definitely. All right. Bossway says, I am very low carb, that I might as well call it keto. I love me some meats. Yes, that's me too, honey. Give me the meats. All right. Now for me, of course, because I have kidney disease, I have to be careful with eating, meat, right? Or protein. I have to be careful. I can't get as much protein as as a lot of people try to get. I can't be too high protein. But for me, when I say high protein, it's high for me. Okay. And that's why we say we can't compare each other's journeys. I know it's sometimes hard to do that, but because we're sitting there watching each other all the time. So it's kind of hard to do it. But, it's good to not compare, especially in a way where it's going to get you down, right? Yes, or have you down and out and thinking, you're not doing your best or your best is not good enough. Yep. That is good to hear. But yeah, so for those who have CKD or chronic kidney disease, you definitely have to be careful. Hello, Life with Vivi. How are you doing, sweetheart? Thanks for coming in. Hope you are doing well. All right, Life with Vivi. Okay, so Bossway says yes. That EGFR I did not pay attention to because it was not in the red. Exactly, exactly, and I understand that. Like we seeing the green, the reds, the highs, the lows, and the normal. So when I see green, I'm thinking normal, we good, right? Not so much, not so much. And a lot of times, like I said before on a live, people look at it as, you know, America has a sick care um, situation versus a healthcare. A lot of times they won't treat us, of course, until we or even talk about it until we are having issues. And I hope they at some point change that, right? So that we can have a true health care. Like, tell me what I need to do before I get, sick, right? Don't have me get, I'm to where I'm having now a chronic issue before you help me, right? That's how I feel. So she says, same here. Bossway says, green, I am good. Red, I am not. Right. Exactly. Good, good, good. I'm happy that you are doing well, Virginia. I started tracking again on Sunday. Let's see how long I can go. All right, Bossway. I see you. I see you. Awesome. You got this, Hajri. Yes, 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 yes. And she just says, thank you to Tamika. Let's see. Same. I cannot have much protein because of CKD. Correct. Yes, 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 Sajarain. So I know some people don't know this stuff. Sometimes doctors don't talk about nutrition, right? So that's why I want to talk about. I know I have some people in my Sweet Life Squad that has kidney disease, right? And as well as diabetes, as well as, some people are on a GLP-1, some people are not. So I'm trying to kind of give you a little bit of everything, to make sure everyone feels comfortable in the lives, as well as, on the channel. Because I'm about better health in general, right? Not just one particular thing. So, because I got so much I'm trying to, juggle at one time, right? So, a lot of times my body, it tries to fight me, especially me trying to lose all the weight that I was trying to lose. My goal weight is still 165. Now, again, if I don't get down to that 165, but my body recomp is recomping well, and I like the way I look, and I like the way I feel, then I'm going to be okay with, a little bit bigger number, right? But I'm so close to, I'm in the 190 still, okay? And that's so close to 200. I don't want to go back over 200. So, sometimes it kind of, scares me a little bit, truth be told. And so when I was talking to my dietitian, which I just started back with a new dietitian a couple weeks ago through Faith Nutrition. I talked about it, on my live already, but just to kind of let you all know, for those who have not heard, yes, I'm talking to a dietitian now, and I want a more individualized plan versus the one when I was talking to my dietitian before that I had before last year. We kind of talked a little bit, but because I was doing so many, I guess good things from what they feel, because I was, my A1C was well controlled, my blood pressure was well controlled, my weight was still going down, because I lost 76 pounds in 1 year, by July 2025, yeah, I was 76 pounds down. So they were excited, they were like, you doing the darn thing, they would help me with certain little things, but not, not enough to where I felt like, I was getting individualized care. They were just telling me, the broad things that we needed. Or if they saw something, that may have been off, okay, let me tell you about this. Or if you have any questions, Kim J, let me, know, and then I can kind of expound on these things, And so that's how it was. Now, I was saying, my endocrinologist or any doctor, they normally don't go too much into the nutrition part because, for one, I was hearing somebody on YouTube, another nutritionist, and she was saying that um, they're not taught that nutrition, but so much. They may have a class or two about nutrition, but that's it. They're into the doctor, the medications, depending on what type of doctor, they're in the health, learning the, what's going on when it comes down to blood work and things of that nature. That's their focus on versus, the health of it all, versus the science versus the nutrition itself, right? They will learn some, but not all. It's just like if you've gone to college, like I had to take, even though I was business supervision and management, that was my degree, I still had to learn about psychology, and I'm like, I'm not going to work with nobody as far as trying to, get their psyche, and things together. But because I am in business, my major is business, to be honest, it kind of goes into it, right? But they're not teaching me everything. I don't even have to have a whole series of, classes on psychology. I only needed a little bit just to say, hey, you're going to have to learn how to work with people, and things like that. But other than that, it wasn't like a whole big old, long lesson about it. So that's how it is when it comes to doctors and nutrition. There's a little, it's separate, right? So they let the nutritionists do their thing, and then they stay in their lanes is how it kind of goes. But anyway, so me talking to my, dietitian about it, that's why I wanted to have one, somebody that can help me with more individualized plans, right? For me. Okay. Like we say, no comparison, right? Every individual is different. So she can look at my blood work. I'm not sure if because I know Nourish, I heard someone say that they actually pull blood work, or have you, do blood work for them. For me, Fade Nutrition has not said that. Now they're supposed to be kind of comparable to Nourish dietitians, network of people, but we'll see. We'll see as I go. I've only done 2 appointments. Now I will be talking back to my dietitian on Friday, just to get some more information and just kind of talk some things through. So I can tell you, which I said it before as well, that my dietitian, she wants me to up my calories. Okay. She wants me to up my calories to 1,750 calories per day. She also wants me to up my carbs, because remember I told you I was low carb, and I did, come up in carbs to about, instead of being very low, I'm about 100 to 125 carbs. Sometimes I'll go over that, maybe to 150, grams of carbs per day, but I'm not, nowhere near what she wants me to be. She wants me to go up to 200 grams to 230 grams per day of carbs. Okay. Now, when it comes to protein, I'm pretty much where she wants me to be, she says between 70 and 109 grams of protein. I'm pretty much there. Now, sometimes I do go above the 109. I may go up to 120, 121, something like that. But I try to stay between 90 and 120. But more so 90 to 100. Okay. So I'm fine with that. I can work with that, what have you. And that's because of the CKD, like I said. Chronic kidney disease. Now, when it comes to fats, she wants me at under 58 grams of fat. Now, when you're used to doing low carb, and if you know about keto, low carb, high fat. So that was sketched in my brain. Low carb, high fat. So I was, eating my fats, right? I was at like 70 something, to 90 grams of fat per day. But my carbs, again, was low. You also know, if you have done keto before, that if you look at your total carbs, you have to also subtract that fiber, and that would be net carbs. Those net carbs actually is, what you really are, what's really, going to determine whether your sugars are going to spike or not spike or whatever. So what I'm saying is, like, the fiber will decrease the spike in carbs. Okay, is what I'm trying to say. So with that being said, it's total carbs minus fiber. Okay, will be your net carbs. Now, I talked to you all about the order in which I eat. my foods. Now I do my veggies and protein first, and not the full amount of what's on my plate, but I'll eat some of that first to front load to make sure I have that to kind of stop the spike of the insulin when it comes to my blood sugars. I don't want my blood sugars to spike up. Now if I eat, say, some rice, whether it's brown rice or white rice, if I eat rice, my sugars are going to spike. If I eat it by itself, my sugar's going to go crazy. Okay. However, if I eat some protein or some veggies first, the veggies are going to give me some fiber, of course, and the protein, of course, is that's the building block of our body. So we need that. So if I'm eating one of them, that's going to calm the spike of that, the reduce the spike of the sugars, right? So that's why I normally try to eat in a certain order. I eat a few bites of the protein or the veggie, and then I eat I start eating some of my carbs. Okay. So, so my dietitian, she wants me to be at that 1750. Right now, I'm between like the high 1300s to the mid 1500s. That's what I normally eat. And I've been doing that for a long time on this journey. Now, I have heard people also say you should not be in a deficit for long periods of times, right? And so that's why I decided I'm going to actually listen at my dietitian, right? I don't know if I can get to 1750. We're going to have to work on that. And I don't know about this 200 to 239 carbs, right? But I know that I do need to do something different. So I am leveling up, y'all, on my nutrition, game. Okay. I'm trying to make sure that I'm eating better. Now, me and my dietitian talked on last Wednesday, and she talked to me, gave me a whole spiel about macro and micronutrients. Now, I talked about it on a live as well a few weeks to months ago. And so, we've already talked about it, right? But we didn't go too deep off in it. But I do realize that we need macronutrients, which I think a lot of us know about that. That's, of course, the carbs, the fats, the fiber, carbs, fats, fiber, and protein. Those are the main ones, right, that we tend to look at. But then there's also a thing called, and that's macro, nutrients, okay, macros. Now you have micro, which is micro, micronutrients, and that's your vitamins and your minerals. And so she kind of just talked to me about it. It was like a nutrients 101 class, right? And just the importance of why we need it and how protein affects the body, how long it stays in the body. Same thing with carbs, same thing with fats, right? And so I thought it was good information, but we didn't get a chance to go deep off into, well, why do you want me to do 1,750 calories? And why you want me to do 200 to 239 carbs? The rest of it, like I said, I can work on, I don't mind. Okay. But those two, again, they make me a little nervous, a lot nervous, to be honest, a lot nervous. And so I want to talk to her on Friday about that. We're going to also talk about tracking. One thing I am going to do, which is I talked to my membership about, and I hope you all saw my for those who are members, thank you all. I so greatly appreciate you. But if y'all have not seen the video, go check the video out. I had a little heart to heart with you all about me and what some of the things I'm talking about now. But I thought that it was time at my 2-year mark to go ahead and level up in my nutrients, to making sure I'm getting the right macros and the right micronutrients. Okay. I need, not just those macros that we all think about, right? Especially on a weight loss journey or a GLP-1 journey or what have you. We always talk about protein. We always, eating high protein, low carb, a high fiber, regimen, right? Or some people just think protein only. That's protein heavy, and don't think about the other stuff. That's sometimes how it goes. But, for whatever reason you're thinking how you're thinking, those carbs are kind of low because we're trying to lose the weight, right? So in our minds, it's kind of sketch. Don't eat a whole lot of carbs because that's what's going to, keep you at a higher weight, right? That's whether you're diabetic or non-diabetic, right? But we need carbs, y'all. Our body needs carbs for fuel. Our body needs carbs for energy. Okay. So that's why we need the carbs. Now, again, I don't mind eating the carbs. I don't mind going up. I wanted to go up to like maybe 150 grams of carbs a day. Has that, let that be kind of like my minimum, or even, it could just be that in general. But, you know, I didn't think 200, 230 eight or nine carbs. That's crazy to me. So I just gotta, change my mindset a little more, right? It's time to level up in my mindset and not be afraid to do, some of the things that she's trying to teach me to do, right? Of course she has the credentials, right? I don't. I'm still learning. And tonight, I know we're learning together. So I am, that Curious to Kim is coming in, right, tonight. So we can talk about that a little bit more. Some things I had looked up to talk to you all about. Hello, residual weight loss. How are you doing, sweetheart? Thanks for coming in. Hello, Miss Felicia Marie B. How are you doing, sweetheart? Thanks for coming in. She said, okay, so Momo says, my macros are 140 carbs, 120 protein, 40 grams of fat, 1,500 milligrams of sodium, and 14,000, Lord Jesus, 1,400 calories. 1,400 calories. I like that. That works. The fat, maybe, I got to figure that out. I'm still figuring the fat out. But yes, that sounds good. I like that. Look, that I can do. I know I can definitely commit to that one, that right there. But again, she wants me to do something different. She wants me to do something different. Shani says, I just ate a baked sweet potato with my dinner. Now I'm sluggish. And exactly, Shani. Shani, carbs make me sluggish. Back before I started my weight loss journey, honey, me eating all them carbs, guess what I want to do after I eat? I want to take a nap. Yes, it makes me sleepy. It makes me sleepy. But when I got on my better health journey and I wasn't eating those carbs, honey, I had so energy for days. Energy for days. You hear me? So yes, carbs can make you sluggish. They really can. And then I noticed, like, I started, at one point I decided, this year to start eating sourdough bread, because remember I was on my gut health challenge. And so I started sourdough bread, because if you have cultures in your bread, good cultures from sourdough, it is good for your gut health, right? Trying to make sure that I have, enough good bacteria more than bad bacteria with them, in my gut, right? And so I can be healthier overall, and so also try to lose some of this belly fat, right? So with that being said, when I had that sourdough, honey, I got sleepy. And it's a good bread for you. But for some reason, I got sleepy. I'm like, oh my gosh, let me get up. Let me start, walking on this treadmill. Let me walk around. Let me get it, get something done, because I get sleepy. So I'm blaming it on the sourdough bread. But even sometimes when I eat rice, it's like that. Now, if I eat, say, with rice, like if I eat, like, say, some brown rice and quinoa, I may not get sluggish. But like if I eat white rice, I may, so it just depends on, the carb that I'm eating. But I got you. I feel you on that one. So Shani also says, but I wanted more carbs since I'm hitting heavy tonight at the gym. I got you. And that's understandable. Yes, I do. You. Yes, Momo. I don't know where I get 14,000 from, girl. Oh my gosh. So Shani says, so now I know I need to have half of what I had. That may be something you want to check into, see what it's about. I think everybody, if you can, get a dietitian, at least talk to them one time, a few times, I should say, not one. One is not going to do nothing, because they're just trying to figure out who you are, but a few times, if you can, talk to your insurance company. And a lot of insurance plans, they allow you to have dietitians, and some of the appointments, you have an appointment with them, they're free, with maybe so many of them. Sometimes, like, I know one of my insurance, plans that I was on previous, they were like 10 dietitian appointments per year, for free, absolutely free for me out of pocket. So I love that. what have you. I need to ask my insurance company now because I don't know how many appointments I'm gonna get with Faye Nutrition for free, for the low. And they asked me for my credit card information. And I'm like, I don't normally give my stuff out. I will pay you when I get to you, but since it's pretty much online, of course they like, nah, give me your credit card just in case I need to give you I need to get this money from you. Oh my gosh. So yes, that was funny for me. I'm like, okay, that was something new too for me. I'm real, particular about putting my credit card information online, or whether it's on an app, or actually going on the website and putting on there. There's too many people out here taking people's stuff, and I don't want to give it to them for free. I don't want to like give it to them like, here you go, you got it, here, just have it. They make you find out. I know my sister and them, they bother me. They be like, I guess I act like a old lady when it comes to that, right? And they like, girl, they can get your information. They find out how to get information anyway. Yeah, but I'm not finna just hand it to them. I ain't finna be that easy. So Vivi says Rice does it every time. See? Yep. Yep. Hello, Purple Bellflower. How you doing, Zodiac Twin? How are you doing? Girl, it's almost our birthday. It's almost our birthday month. Uh-huh. All right, Shani says, if what you ate makes you sluggish, it was too much for you. Food should be fuel, not slow you down. Now, that's true. Food should be, yeah, we eating food for fuel. Right. Yes. And sometimes you can be slow a little bit too if you're not getting enough food too. So we have to think about it in that manner as well, right? So that's why I like, I'm like, let me have this dietitian. Let her help me, at this part, because, I'm really at my wit's end. I don't know what to do, when it comes to, I just want to level up in everything. Like I said, my health in general, my health markers, making sure there's, that they're doing what they're supposed to do, in everything, one reason why I did. Hello, Pammy. How you doing, sweetheart? Thanks for coming in. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for popping in. One thing that actually to help me decide to get with another dietitian, because I hadn't seen a dietitian since maybe I think May of last year or whatever. Like I said, I was doing okay, and then I just went willy nilly on my own when it came down to when I went back down on the dose of Mounjaro back to the 5 milligram dose. I was just doing my own thing, honey. I was just like, I don't know. They're not helping me with, nothing. So since they think I know it all, then I'll just go ahead and just figure it out myself, research things like that, right? Because they're not really helping me, like I need them to, that dietitian. So, or my healthcare team, in its totality. So I'm like, okay, you know what? At one point I just got irritated because I'm like, my sugar going, still going low, even though I was on the 5 milligram dose. I went back down. I'm like, why is it going low? And I'm back on Mounjaro 5 milligram versus a 7.5. I should be able to not have as many low blood sugars now, and I'm eating a little snack before bedtime, which helps people, with morning, to try to minimize the morning lows. And I still was having some lows. I'm like, what is going on? So I was at my wit's end. I'm like, I'm going up in carbs. I went down in medication. I'm still having lows. That's crazy. So anyway, I started doing some research and trying to figure out what I needed to do. And then that's when I was like, you know what? Let me up these carbs more. I am eating more fiber, so I have to eat more carbs, or what have you. I need those carbs to make sure that I'm fueling my body, with enough carbs, right? And so the reason why I was upping my fiber so much, I'm at 35 grams of fiber as a goal, and that's so I can combat constipation, being on Mounjaro, right? So that kind of, was still, like I said, blunting the carbs and how it affected my body, right? I needed more. So, okay, everybody said, okay. So, yes, so everybody's saying hey to each other. So, yes, so going back to now, deciding to go to, use that Faye Nutrition dietitians. 1750, like I said, calories a day, and 200 to 230, I think it's 8 or 9. I don't remember 9. I think it's carbs a day. I think it's crazy. I just think it's crazy. I don't know. I don't know. But like I said, I'm gonna give it a try. Now, what I did ask my dietitian, I said, "Do you want me to do this like immediately? Like go straight up to it?" And she did, tell me no, not immediately, sweetheart. Little at a time, do it gradually, go up to that number. But I am gonna talk to her Friday and just kind of understand so I can understand it more. I have to wrap my head around it, right? Once I get it, then I got it. But sometimes it takes me a while to get it, or what have you. Look, some people in the chat can tell you firsthand. That's how I am. I gotta understand it. I gotta understand it. If I don't understand it, then I'm looking like quack. Like I don't know what are you talking about. I was so used to eating low carb or even I should say low carb at this point that it don't make sense to go up almost double. Definitely over half of what I'm already doing. You want me to times that by two? Like that's a lot. That's a lot. Is it worth? Do I need to really do that? I'm trying to lose weight. I'm not trying to gain weight, and carbs can make you gain weight. So that's how I look at it, right? Especially on the dose of Mounjaro that I'm on. That's one thing too. I'm like, I'm on a high dose of Mounjaro. You sure you want me to do this? Like, how am I supposed to eat all these carbs, all these calories, and I'm on a Mounjaro high dose? How? I mean, that don't make sense to me. Make it make sense. So I decided, y'all, that I'm gonna do it. I'm going to sit at her feet, right, and learn a few things, right? Things that I may not learn from the internet, or I don't know what to ask the internet. So or looking for different websites or even chat that she may be able to talk to me about. Now, when she went micro macronutrients on me, and she went very detailed, very beginner friendly, right, just to find out what I knew about it at our last visit. And I appreciate that, but I'm like, I probably need like intermediate or advanced class because I understand micros and macros to a certain extent, right? So I may miss some stuff in the one-on-one class, but for the most part, we learn so much on this, red app, right? Us talking to each other about things, us looking at, different nutritionists on the platform, or, doctors or whatever, and just researching on our own, right? And it's because I'm a researcher at heart. I'm going to look stuff up. I'm just going to look it up. I'd rather look it up so I can make sure I'm kind of doing what I suppose, trying to do as much as I possibly can, or what have you. But again, like I said, at some point, you're going to need somebody else that is a professional. You may need somebody, rather. I ain't going to say everybody need them, but a professional to help you, through your journey. So that's why I decided to, talk to that dietitian and see where I'm at and where she wants me to go and why she wants me to go up so far. I'll let y'all know what she said. I'll let y'all know what she said. Let me see. I'm trying to see. Everybody's saying hello to one another still. Love that, Kim J. Thank you. Thank you. Purple Bellflower says, I was going to ask Kim J if the increase in carbs she suggested while being on Mounjaro will help you keep your blood glucose stable, all while working out. That might be it, Bellflower. It might be why. I think that probably is part of why, because she knows trying to work out 2 to 3 times a day, strength training, right? Also, I'm doing 8,000 to 10,000 steps a day. I did have to kind of go down on it a little bit because I'm having issues for some reason. On my foot, I have like 2 little bumps. Well, I call them bumps, but they're, it's a rot. It's some kind of something. It look like a bump. It feels like a bump. So, but I remember sometime in 2025, this on my left foot. Now my right foot, I had that same feeling on my right foot in 2025 at like maybe around, I think February or so of 2025. And when I went to the podiatrist, because my endocrinologist has a podiatrist in his office, he also had a nutritionist in his office, a dietitian nutritionist. So when I talked to the podiatrist, he told me when he looked at it, he said it was a clogged sweat gland. I can't remember the real name for it, but yes, it was a clogged sweat gland. And I guess with all the walking I was doing and I was sweating, and the sweat wasn't releasing like it was supposed to. So it got clogged. With that being said, he had to like file some of it down with his little, device. And and then after a while it just, I was fine. But and I have not had any issues, since then. But now I started feeling that bump. It was one at first, but then all of a sudden I felt the second one, and they're right there next to each other. And it's right, how when you have your foot kind of starts going outward a little bit, and you have like a little bone right on the side of your foot, the outside of your foot, and then it goes in right there. That's where both of them are at. And so sometimes when I put on my tennis shoes, it makes my feet hurt so bad, right? That foot hurt so bad. So now I'm limping and everything. So I had to slow down on some of the walking. What I'm trying to do now is try to walk a little bit, at a time versus like a full hour, hour and a half of walking, because it does kind of bother my foot. I'm gonna have to probably, I was hoping it would kind of go away on its own, and maybe it could have been something that bit me, or, mosquitoes galore, in the warm climate that I'm in. So right now, so I didn't know what was going on, but I'm thinking since it's not going away, it must be, what I had before. So I'm gonna go and probably go ahead and make an appointment for the podiatrist to find out, if that's what it is, and let him do what he needs to do so that it can, calm on down. So yes, but I do think, the carb suggestion is partly due to making sure that my blood glucose is stable, yes, as well as my working out. Yes, Melflower, I do think so. Um, and that's fine. I just don't know. Like I said, for me, with the being kind of, the nervousness about it is how many carbs, how many calories, is what, I'm a little nervous about, right? I'm going to do it. I'm going to try to do the suggestions that she made. It is kind of hard for me. What also I'm doing, y'all, is tracking now. I've been kicking and screaming about tracking. Don't want to do it. Saying I have a love-hate relationship with it. And I do. I do. But I have to change my mindset, y'all. It's time to level up. It's a lot of things we don't like doing, right? But that don't mean we shouldn't do it. Correct? So, Kim J, note to self, you gotta change your mindset. What I've been telling y'all in these lives, no more stinking thinking, right? No more negative thinking or talking or whatever. I mean, sometimes it's gonna happen, but I'm saying like try to correct it as quick as possible. I know this lady is trying to make sure, my dietitian is trying to make sure, that I am, getting the right nutrients that I should have, the right calories, and just, the whole thing, right? That's her job to do. And it appears that she does very well with her job. She's highly, she's appears high on, when it comes to customers, how they rate you or whatever, and she rates high. So yes, I have to, settle my little mind, do it afraid, right? And even though let my understanding catch up with what, is best for me. That's what I have to do. So if that's what I got to do, and this is what I talk about on, the channel, I have to, do it myself as well. I have to do it myself. Now I know I am in I've been in a calorie deficit for a long time. And so while I don't know all the things, that I put in my mouth, how many calories, how many, macros and micronutrients I'm getting, because I'm not tracking every day, or, I track sporadically. I know there are times when I am getting over 2,000 calories, right? I just don't know how much and when and all that stuff. So I decided, y'all, I'm going to start back tracking, right? And to be honest, just like Miss Hajarine, she started Sunday. She said early in the chat, I started my tracking last week. Okay, really week before last, I started a little bit. I did track when I was on my 21-day consistency challenge, right, with my members. But and I did it 3 to 4 days a week. So I know I can track at least 3 to 4 days a week. I'm not trying to track the whole 7 days. I may, but I can't promise you that. But what I can promise you is that I'm going to be more consistent with tracking. Okay. That's huge for me, y'all. Because throughout my whole journey, I was not tracking that all the time. Okay. I would track here and there, here and there, here and there sporadically. But I remember too when I was first starting my weight lifting journey, here and there, just here and there, whenever I felt like it, right? I was getting it done, but still not in a consistent basis. So December 2020 I decided to do it on a more consistent basis. At least 2 days a week, I started, lifting weights. I did it just like this lady, just like I keep saying the lady, just like the nutritionist is saying, little by little, gradually going up in my weights. Well, that's the same way I need to do, when it comes to this better nutrition, gradually going up, right? Not trying to shoot up, because when I tried to, when I looked at a TDEE calculator before, it tells me, okay, if you're a person that is, my height, my weight, my age, as a woman doing the weight training that I'm doing and the walking, then I need, so and so amount of calories, what have you. And it was about the same as what she was saying. 1,700 something calories. They were a little off. But the carbs, that was on the high side on the TDE calculator, what she was trying to tell me. And so that's why I'm like, do I have to go up that far though? I don't know. So that's what I want to, I'm going to talk to her, and I'm going to have her try to explain this to me so that I can, understand, if I need that much. I would love to do maybe between 150 and 170. That's what I want. So we're going to see. I'm going to tell her. I'm going to let her know and see what she's saying, because that might be okay. It may be okay. So we'll see. We shall see. And maybe 1650. Well, she did tell me. Oh, that's another thing I asked her. I said, are you saying 1750 period every day? And she said, no. It is a range, between 1650. Well, she said 200, right? Calorie range. So what I'm interpreting that is between 1650 and 1850. Okay. Dead smack in the middle is the 1750. So that's what I'm thinking she wants me to do. But again, it's gradually. With the carbs, she told me to gradually go up 20 grams of carbs per week. So I'm like, okay, that's doable. That's doable. Break it down to Kim J, baby. Break that thing down. You hear me? Break it down. Break it down. More carbs may even make it possible to get on a higher dose of Mounjaro without having your BG drop too low. You right about it, sweetheart. You right. Zodiac twin. You right. Help me, y'all. Help. Thank you, boo. Come help me. Y'all help me out, okay? Help me out, honey. Yes. Bellflower, what dose you on right now? If you don't mind sharing it. Momo says, I meal prep every Sunday, so I track majority of my meals then. It's rough, but it's worth it for our health. You right about it, Momo. You are right about it. So that's another thing, y'all. So not only am I going to track more consistently, right? More than I ever did in my journey, I'm going to track, y'all. I'm not going to think of it as a love-hate relationship anymore, y'all. I am going to think of it as in a positive, light, right? I'm going to be like, okay, I am like this now. I'm actually a little excited about it, right? Because I finally accepted it. I always thought it was a good thing, a good tool, right? And just like we use, for those who are on Mounjaro, you use Mounjaro as a tool, or those who, are on a better health journey or weight loss journey, they're using that scale as a tool. Well, trackers are tools. So why not use that tool also? Why not maximize everything you can? Just like Kim J, I'm talking to myself, just like you trying to do when it comes to your health, your lab work, right? You want to be in that middle of the normal range, right? It's the same way. Use that tracker, honey. That tracker is going to help you. I hear you, Felicia Marie B. I hear you, sweetheart. I promise you I hear you. I hear you, Tamika. I hear you. Track. I know tracking is, is going to help me. I understand. I get it, baby. Thank y'all for talking to me, about it, even though I was like, no, I don't want to do it. I don't want to. I need to. It's going to help me. And I don't have to do it forever. You know, um, they've stated that to me, Tamika and Felicia. But not only that, as well as Patrice, Denise. But you know, my dietitian also said that you don't have to do it all the time. It don't have to be all or none, Kim J. You don't have to do all or none. It could be okay. Let's do it for the time being, and let's see how it goes. So if I have an open mind, which I have opened my mind to it, I should be able to do it more successfully. It won't feel like a burden to me, right? Because I'm not thinking of it in a negative way. Okay, so that's why I'm excited about this, y'all. I am. So yes, so when it comes, did I go too far down? Hold on. Yeah, so I do, like I said, Bellflower, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. That having those more, that's why I knew I need to probably go up to at least 150, try to get up to 150 carbs. The 200 to 230 is baffling me, but we're gonna see. Because, like, Shawnee said, sometimes that thing make me sleepy. Those cars make me sleepy. So, but Shawnee did tell me in this chat that maybe I'm getting too much, or what have you. But I can tell you, Shawnee, if you're still watching, I know you have to, do your strength training. But, I can eat, say, for breakfast, I can have, some eggs, some bacon, my profi, and then a piece of sourdough toast, just one, not the two that they that's the serving. So the serving size normally is two on the one I buy from Aldi, two slices of that sourdough. I'm eating only one, and I still get tired. I still got tired when I ate it, so I don't know, that wasn't a whole lot, it wasn't a whole lot of carbs, but it still made me tired, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. And again, like, not, oh, that's another thing, y'all. Meal prep. I want to try that, to meal prep, or at least meal plan. That's another thing that I'm doing. So one is tracking. Well, one is mindset shift. Two, number two is me, upping my calories and my carbs. Okay. Being okay with it and let my mind, my understanding catch up. Okay. And then three, the third thing I'm trying to do is meal prep or meal plan, at least, right? That's another thing I want to do. Okay. And I'm not saying all the time, right? But if I can do it, a little more often. I've never really meal prepped. I do cook and have leftovers, but I don't normally meal prep. So I'm thinking about jumping into that as well at times, because that can help when it comes down to, your tracking. If you already tracked it one day, then if you're gonna eat it for the next 5 days, then you already got that. Or the next even 3 days. 5 days might be too long for me, right? But for breakfast, I might be okay. But like when it comes down to lunch and dinner, I switch out on my lunch and dinners. Now, for those who like eating, the same thing all the time, that's not me. Okay, it'll be easier to track when you're that person. But for me, I switch out my stuff too often, right? And that's fine to do that if that's what you do, or whatever. But whatever is sustainable for you, right? So I switch out my stuff all the time. So I, be like, okay, what it is, what is this? So I can, you know, um, just make sure that if I do maybe 3 days of prepping, that may be a little bit easier, because that's just like me cooking a big Sunday meal and I eat it for the next, 3 days, so I can do that. That's more, that's easier for me to commit to, right? Okay, so, okay, 7.5. Okay, recently got back on 10. Okay, cool. Yes, yes. All right, so y'all, I didn't tell y'all yet, but just to let y'all know, these people in this chat, because I don't know who all will listen at this video, so I go it on a 10 too. So that's the one reason why I'm like, wait a minute, lady, you sure you want me to? I'm gonna call her lady, but I really, my mom used to hate me saying lady instead of calling them by their name, or say, I can at least say her title. But the dietitian, I'm like, I'm on this 10 milligram, y'all, because I'm trying to reduce the inflammation that it has set in, after when I went back down to that 5 milligram. I went back up to the 7.5 this year, and I still had the inflammation. So I went up. So my doctor told me to go up to the 10, and I finally got my 10 milligram dose. So I must probably still do a video on it, but yeah. Hello, Miss Jerlene. How you doing, sweetheart? Thank you so much. I know Bellflower for coming in. Thank you for coming in, Miss Jerlene. Bellflower, I didn't know if you were on a lower dose now or not. Okay. So thanks for telling me though. Yeah. So you are on the 10, so you still but you're able to still get those calories in. All right, all right, all right. Hello, G's. How you doing? Thanks for coming in. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. Okay, so Barbara, I'm sorry, Barbara. Momo says, I also batch freeze food. Okay, I have brown rice already weighed in advance, and I have them in reusable containers. I can freeze so it's quick and grab. Okay, in the future, and macros done. I like that. That's a good idea too. That's a good idea. Mm-hmm. I just got to get used to freezing food though. When I try to freeze food, half the time I don't go back to it. I throw it away. I wind up throwing it away. 'Cause I'm like, is it frostbitten? I don't know. Oh my god, y'all, y'all don't know what y'all dealing with me. Oh my gosh. But yes, that is a good idea though, Momo. That's a good idea. Recover well, recover well, still sore. Okay, Miss Jolene. Well, we pray that you recover, quickly, quickly recover, and you're okay. All right. And then Momo says, I batch freeze my own smoothie bowls too. She laughing. Oh gosh, yeah, I forget to go back sometimes too. Yes. Yes. And I don't know the difference between just having, a little bit of, ice on the top of the thing because it's frozen or it's frostbitten. Now I know of course there's a lot of ice. I know that's definitely frostbitten. That's going in the trash for sure. But yeah, I got to figure that part out. So thank you for that suggestion though, because that might be something I'll be doing later on. Yes, Purple Bell said, "No, girl, maintenance for a year and a half, and I'm eating." LOL. So it really wasn't a need to go lower. I got you. I'm trying to test some things out. Yep, I got you. I got you. I got you. Let us know about it. Virginia says, "Yes, I batch freeze too. It makes it so much easier. Plain, mainly the protein. Gotcha. Okay, I gotcha. So yeah, maybe I'll try that. Maybe that'll be something I'll try as well. Look, where is my notes? My note pad and my little pencil and pen or whatever. Hold on, y'all. I'm gonna write this down because I've been forgot. Freeze your food, honey. That might be something easy. Now breakfast, y'all. It's easy for me to kind of I pretty much eat the same breakfast or the same few breakfasts, often every day, really. Um, but you know, the lunch and dinner, like I said, is different. It's just different. Now I do have some staples that I do, like tuna wraps. I love those. I love the chicken wraps. Whether it's bear chicken or it could be, a canned chicken or something like that. I am going to try to. I guess this is a fourth. Try to go more whole food. I do at some point want to get to 80% of whole food, 20% indulgence food. Now I'm going to keep indulgence in my life because that's what's sustainable for me. I like to live a little, okay? And I think we can. I don't think nothing is wrong with eating, um, certain foods that's more, satisfying to your, your taste buds, more than whether they're healthy or not. I think it's nothing wrong with that at times. But there's a time and place for everything, and it's moderation, right? It's our moderation. So when it comes to that, I hope to get to that point where I'm, 80% whole foods, 20%, indulgence. And y'all, I can tell you, since I've been, doing on this journey, like I said, almost 2 years, 2 years on Thursday of this week, I'm eating so much better than I used to back in the day. Okay. I was saying when I first came on the channel, and, on the live tonight that, of the foods that I was eating back in the day before I started this better health journey, I am so far gone from the things that I used to do. So far gone. I do so much better when it comes to, the foods that I choose, the nutrition that I choose. But again, so this is not about, oh, I need to do better because I'm not doing good. This is about and just eating what I want. No, this is not about that at all. I am very much a healthier eater. Okay. I want and crave more things that are healthy versus unhealthy nowadays. So I do. I thank God for that. But it's you can always level up. You can always level up. So that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. All right. Thank you, G's, for the gems. I greatly appreciate it. I do appreciate you. Yes, yes. All right. Let me see. Oh Lord, where I'm at now. I done lost my thing. All right, yes. So thank you so much, G's, again. All right, so yeah, I gotta head out. Okay, that's fine. Have a great night, Momo. All right, let's see. So yeah, she said yes, and yes, and batch prep seasoning. So you just have to take some protein and veggies and throw the seasoning on, and it's all good to go. Okay, that's a good one too. That's a good one too. Seasoning. I haven't thought about that one. But yeah, because that can get kind of irritating when you have no, okay, I got to take out 6 different seasonings and I have to, put however much on each one. Now, look, I let the ancestors tell me how much to season, okay? My food with each one. So that might be, I don't know how hard that's going to be for me. You know, I just do what I need to do when I need to do it. Yeah, I don't like say, okay, I'm gonna put one scoop of, I mean, one cinnamon, no, what is it? 1 gram of this or 1 milligram of this or whatever. I don't do that. 1 teaspoon of pepper and then 1 teaspoon of this. I don't do that. I shake. And then I'm like, okay, that's right. You know how you do typing. You can type by or piano. You can play piano by ear, or you can learn the notes yourself. Or when you type in, you can either peck type and look at the keyboard, or you can just start. You learn how to just type without looking at the keyboard. That's how I am when it comes down to food. Cooking. I don't unless I'm doing a recipe, like actually following a recipe. I shake until my ancestors say stop. Okay. Yes. Oh my God. Let's see. Mrs. Dat. Yes, honey. Mrs. Dat. Did somebody say Miss? Did I miss somebody, Lord? I hope I ain't missed nobody. I think I got everybody. Let me see. A minute. Oh, here it is. I don't let it sit too long, Kim J. I move through it pretty quickly. Okay, okay. Yes. Let's see. I make sure it's portioned out. I got you. And that's what I was thinking in my head. I'm like, what I would do is if I put it in the freezer, the meat in the freezer or whatever foods I'm doing, even veggies. I remember my mama used to do that, when she was alive. She would put certain things in the freezer. If we don't eat it that night, she puts it in the freezer for later and then we'll get it, she'll get it back out. But she didn't let it stay forever. That's how I have to remember. Don't let it stay. Don't forget that it's in there, right? Because then that's when all the ice start getting on it, and then I don't know if it's frostbitten or what. So it's getting tossed. Yep. So I'm with you on that. Thank you for that, Virginia. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. I'm writing something down, y'all. Hold on. And then okay. So yes, thank you for that. And yes, Mrs. Dash, the Boss Way is very good. I use Mrs. Dash. So back in the day, I would use so many salts. I would use so many. Oh, I won't say salts, but it was like I would use Laurie's. Laurie's is still my friend. That's my best friend, y'all. I don't care what nobody say. We not. I'm not planning on separating with Laurie's. Okay, so I use Laurie's. I would use McCormick's Grill Mates on certain things. I would have like several different ones, right? But even though McCormick Grill Mates has salt, that's the first thing it has in it too. That's the first ingredients, right? I still would use my Laurie's and because McCormick by itself wasn't doing it. It wasn't hitting on it, on nothing. So I had to put me some Laurie's on that. I don't know if it was a mindset thing. I don't know what it was, but I had to have my Laurie's. Now I can put the McCormick to the side, but Laurie's had to be a thing. Laurie's, pepper, black pepper, what else? Onion powder, garlic powder. Those 4 I had to have. Okay. And then everything else was just an additive to that, right? Once I got on my better health journey, I switched a lot of all of that McCormick stuff I was using. I found it in the Dash version. Okay, so I use Dash. Now I will buy some McCormick grill mate still, but I use it very sparingly, very sparingly. So yeah, I told y'all when I was doing my nutrition, I wasn't playing. I wasn't playing the radio. I was like, I got to do this better. I got to figure out something. Um, blah, purple bell plot. Blah, I can't get it out. Nicole says, do it in small chunks so you're not overwhelmed. Yes, that's what I'm thinking. I 1 week track, 7 days, so you can evaluate the data. Yes, 1 week meal prep, so you can evaluate that data and your results. Yes, may help solidify decisions for you. Thank you so much, sweetheart. Yes, help your sister out, honey. Help your girl out. Let me see. It's long. Okay. Look, it's me writing it down. Uh, yeah, I got it. So yes, I am excited though, y'all, that I am, starting to track. And I actually last week I tracked. So week before last, when I first talked to my dietitian, she told me to track 2 days during the week and 1 day for the weekend. Because a lot of times when it comes to weekends, people tend to eat a little bit more. They may eat out that day where, during the week, they may not eat out. They may just eat at home. But on the weekends, you're more likely to eat, you know, um, less healthier stuff, I guess, options, right? So, I didn't get a chance to do that because I was very busy with a lot of family things going on, or what have you. A death in my close friend that I consider family, right? They're so intermingled with my family that they are like family. We call each other sisters for real. Um, and so, her husband passed. Then we had, my nephew went into the hospital, didn't know what was going on with him. And then one of my cousins, when my nephew was coming out of the hospital, my cousin went in the hospital through emergency, in ICU, still fighting for his life even today. So I had a lot going on. I wasn't thinking about no tracking nothing, right? So I tried to track a little bit, but I could not track a full day. So with all of that, emotional thing, all the stuff emotional going on, then, even with some people here, had lost some loved ones, and that was kind of, I was heartbreaking because they were heartbroken, so it makes my heart, break, right? Or my heart break for them, So, it was just too much going on. So I didn't get a chance to do it. So I started last Monday. My appointment was Wednesday with my dietitian. So Monday and Tuesday I tracked fully, right? And then so I can have some information for her, to talk to her about on Tuesday. But like I said, she started talking micronutrients and macronutrients that we didn't get a chance to really get into what I tracked, like I thought she was going to, right? So yeah, I would try to do that, or what have you. But I'm excited that I was able to track actually 5 days last week, 5 full days. And Saturday was the funeral. So, of course, I didn't track that, because I didn't know, the food that we ate at like the repast. How would I know at all, you know, how to even start counting it, or what have you? I didn't think about it until afterwards. I should have put it, should have took that picture and put the picture in there and see what they came up with, the my net diary. But I didn't even think about it. Like I said, I was there for her, not for, oh, I got to track this. It wasn't that serious for me to track that day. So yeah, 5 days of tracking, and actually did it with a, glad heart, and I enjoyed it, and I'm back at it again this week. I didn't track. Did I track Sunday? I don't remember if I tracked Sunday, but I definitely tracked Monday and Tuesday of this week. Today, yeah, I think I did track Sunday. I'm looking, y'all. Hold up. I think I tracked Sunday and Monday. Yep, I tracked Sunday and I tracked Monday. Yes. So last week I got a little report. They give us a report every week, and they told me that my calories average was at 1,427 calories, right? Of the days that I tracked, okay, that week. So I said, let me push it up at least to 1,450 this week. And then when I talk to her on Friday, my dietitian, then I'm going to see, how she wants me to go up, by how many calories, because she didn't tell me how many calories I should, try to go up when it comes down to my calorie count. Okay. So I'm going to see what she says about that. But right now I have it set at 1450. So that's a little bit more than that 1427, right? That I had last week. So yes, the ancestors got me too. I know that's right. I know that's right. That's what you know when you couldn't cook for real, right? Okay, great idea, purple brown flour. Yes, 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 yes. All right, show you laughing. Yeah, so y'all, I got a little drink here. It's a little kombucha. Y'all, let me see what it says on here. Enjoy every moment. Enjoy every moment, y'all. I don't let the ice melt, y'all. I had some ice in it too. Like I had a little drink. Drink it, drink. So this here is the synergy. Let me see. The thing is all in the way. This is good for gut health. It's Synergy kombucha, the real kombucha, y'all. The real kombucha. It has 9 billion living probiotics in it, right? It's the flavor is Gava Goddess, and it's your gut superhero. It is very good for your gut. I'm still, on this gut healthy regimen, trying to make sure I'm getting, more gut healthy foods because I want to make sure that, I have more good bacteria in my body than the bad bacteria in my gut. Because if we take care of our gut, it's going to help us, it just in the body, period. Right. So that's still, even though I'm done with the 21-day of gut health challenge, I'm still working on gut health and I'm still working on app workouts. Okay, making sure that I'm doing those. Every time I go in that gym, I'm hitting those abs. Okay. Yep, yep, yep. Every time. So yeah, so that's what I'm working on right now. Want to let you all know. Also, just to tell you too, when it comes to micro and macronutrients, it's a reason for us to need those things. So bellflower, that is something that she talked to me about on Wednesday, and not just because of the blood glucose and the me working out in the gym doing body recomp, trying to progressive overload. It also is, because she wants to make sure I'm getting enough macronutrients as well as micronutrients. Again, macronutrients, the main ones is the protein, the carbs, and the fats, right? But, I also have to worry about micronutrients, and that's your vitamins and your minerals, right? And so it's best to get those things through whole foods. Okay. And so that's why I wanted to make sure I'm, doing leveling up when it comes to whole foods. I eat quite a bit of whole foods now, and that's why it's too why sometimes it's hard for me to get up to where I want to get in my calories because I'm being a low in carbs, you know um and doing whole food. Sometimes it's hard to get those calories up to 2,000 calories or 1,800 calories and things like that. At least that was my experience. So I'm like, I got to figure something out, or what have you. When I say whole foods, I'm talking about foods that grow from the earth, some kind of way grow from that earth, maybe the one ingredient foods or very little ingredients within the food. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to get to. Just putting more of those in my regimen, right? uh so yeah, but again, because my mindset was so on low carbs because I have type 2 diabetes, my mindset was on, I'm on this higher dose of Mounjaro, so how can I eat all that food when it's literally is built to suppress your appetite? And then also, one fear of mine was going up in calories, but I'm trying to lose weight. That didn't make sense to me, right, at all. So that's what scared me about, what she was saying. And like I said, with not having a full detailed conversation about it yet, she just threw it on my app. And I'm looking like, what does this mean to me? That's why, I was a little afraid because I need to talk it out. I'm one that has to talk it out, think it out, so that I can understand better what we're doing. Why am I doing this? So yeah, but those macros and those vitamins, you want to make sure you're getting, not just, we always think about the macros, but we need to talk about that MICRO. We need to think about that. And I remember people, just on our platform saying, "Oh, I lost my hair. I lost, like certain things. I'm not feeling as, energetic and all that stuff." A lot of times, the reason why we're having these issues is because we are missing some kind of vitamin, a mineral in our bodies, in our foods. We're not getting it from the whole foods because a lot of times, we're being suppressed so much that we're not able to get the amount of food we need to, or we are easily jumping to the ultra processed foods, like say, protein shakes, protein bars, protein jerky, all these things that we protein chips, all that, to try to get the protein in, which is understandable. But are they whole foods? And so the foods that God has given us, that grows from the earth, you know that's really all we need. If we can eat enough of the foods and make sure we're pairing the right foods together, then that is going to help us get where we need to be. The food is healing. Whole food is healing. It helps us heal our bodies. So that's what we need to try to, hopefully pivot to, at some point in our journey, where we can pivot to eating more whole foods. So that's why I'm, choosing to do the whole food, try to do more whole foods. Like I said, I'm not finna sit up here and lie and say, I'm not gonna ever eat out anymore. I'm not gonna ever, go to Culver's, or I have a little place called Blaze Pizza. I like them. Now I do choose better burgers now. I don't go to Burger King and McDonald's like I used to prior to, you know, years prior to, my better health journey. But I am going to eat, say, a Culver's burger over any of the other fast food burgers, every now and again. Not all the time, but every now and again, I do treat myself to that. And then I'll get, some fries. But when I do get the fries, I only eat, a little portion of those, the amount of fries they give me. I may have about 5 to 8 fries, and I'm good because I got that burger and I got the fries, and I'm good, right? So I am more subconscious of what I'm doing when I do eat out. Pizza, instead of going to Pizza Hut, which is I love so dearly, you know, I don't choose Pizza Hut anymore, right? I get to choose, Blaze. Now Blaze, they have their foods are the nutrients in their foods are good. They use whole foods to create the pizza, for the toppings on the pizza. And then it's a what is it, wood, is it, what is it called, is it not wood burning fire, I forgot what it's called, Lord. But they put it in the fire, they put it in that thing, and they use the little thing so they can cook the food. I can't think of what it's called right now, it's not coming to me, but whatever it is, they have good ingredients, clean ingredients, as options on what I can put on my pizza, right? And then this very thin crust pizza, so I'm not getting so many carbs, what have you. So I do choose that. Sometimes I also pair it with a salad. Before I did not do that, and I do half a pizza because their pizza is like, it's what is it, 11 inch, 10 inch, something like that. So you get 6 slices, and I'll eat 1.5 slices, but they're thin slices. And I also pair, like I said, with um a a good salad, right? So I eat my salad first, and I showed it on my channel. I eat my salad first, and then I eat the 1.5 slices of the pizza. Their slices are not even that big, it's like I said, it's almost like, not, it's a little bit bigger than a personal pan pizza, right? And so I do that. So there are times that I will go. I love Chipotle, so I'll eat that, every so often, or what have you. Chipotle, they are using good sources of choices in foods or whatever. They're more clean foods, so I will eat that as well. But I want to eat more at home, because I know exactly what I'm putting on it, and in the food, and I can actually prep it out if I want to. Ms. Jerlene says, Kim J, this sounds like a great plan. Thank you so much, Ms. Jerlene. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Bellflower says, that's good. You are working with a professional to guide you through this. Yes, yes. I try to do it on my own, honey. And I did a very good job. I ain't even gonna lie. I did a real good job. But like I said, If I'm gonna level up, I might as well go ahead and let this dietitian kind of, guide me along the way. Um, I can say that, I'm not having as many low blood sugars anymore, as I once was. Thank God now I can kind of feel, because I wasn't one that could feel when my sugars go low. It would go very low before I could feel it, right? And so now I can feel like even when it goes up a little bit, up a certain amount, I can feel it. So I'm happy about that, because that's why, some of these illnesses, they say they're silent killers, because if you don't feel it, then you don't know what's going on. For a person that has, like, say, for instance, have high blood pressure, and they feel a headache when their pressure is high, or they feel, they see like spots. At least it's giving them some kind of indication that something is, wrong. But if you don't have no feelings and you at 200 something over 100 something all the time, which is how I was back in the day, I was living my little life, didn't have none of them symptoms of having high blood pressure, and I was just doing the darn thing. Thank God. This is why I say God has, even though, I still have to deal with, these things, I thank God for taking care of me. He really, truly, is faithful. Like he said, his word, he is faithful, and he took care of me through all the years that I was just haphazardly living, right? So I knew that he was going to take care of me even in doing this, journey of finding out I had diabetes, right? And so all the things just started falling into place when I started doing the work. So yes, I had the faith, and I thank God that, my faith was big enough to say, Lord, I know that you can heal me, right? That's what you said in your word. Your word doesn't lie. You can heal me, right? But before, I was not doing the work. I'm excited that today I can say I am doing the work, y'all. I am doing the work, right? Yes, I'm on Mounjaro for type 2 diabetes. Yes, this is also a tool to help me, lose some weight. But Kim J, she is doing the work as well. I'm not giving all that to Mounjaro. I'm not. Yes, I still want Mounjaro, but honey, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm doing all the things, as we say, all the things, um, eating, better. And like I said, leveling up now on it. This is a wonderful time right now at my second year of, trying to level up, right? As well as, getting my steps in, getting my movement in, and doing it throughout the day going to be even better for me. Miss Tamika talked, I'm just going to say a little bit. She talked about, the neat, when it comes to neat, making sure that you're moving all the time, the things that you don't normally count as a full exercise, that extra movement you're doing, so part of it could be walking. She talked about the walking, aspect of her neat. She moves a lot, or what have you throughout the day, right? Not just, oh, I'm finna, she has her times where she exercise, take time out to exercise for sure. But then she has her times where she's just moving just to move, when she's on the phone, when she's, doing other things, or what have you. So that neat, that non, what is it? Oh Lord, I don't forget. Let me see. Hold up. I don't want to munk up the name. Hold on. Because I always forget one of the things. Non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Sis. Non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Right? That is when your energy, when you're getting, it refers to the energy and calories your body burns, okay, doing everything that is not sleeping, eating, or sports like structured exercise. That's what needs are. So you're talking health, household chores. You're talking your daily regular habits by, you may want to take the stairs instead of, the elevators. You're talking standing instead of sitting. You're talking fidgeting around your house, throughout the day, getting your steps in. Even when it comes to, at work, we don't hear people talk about it this way, but occupational movement, typing, heavy lifting, or walking around in the office, that is part of your NEAT as well. And NEAT is an acronym, like I said, of non-exercise activity and thermogenesis. All right, then you have your leisure activities, gardening, walking the dog, and grocery shopping. Those are just, a few things when it comes to NEAT, that's important. Everyone keep going, Kim J. Thank you. Good night. Good night. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, G's. Miss Jolene says, good night, G's. Glad you stopped by. Yes, yes. All right. Miss Jolene says, how are you, Shiny? And Shiny may be at the gym now, Miss Jolene. Um, Bossway says, yes, you are. Yes, you are. And then Bellflower says, yes, we evolve throughout the process and continue to learn, grow, and adopt better habits. You got this, Kim J. Thank you so much, y'all. I love you all, Sweet Life Squad. I greatly appreciate you all becoming in a circle. I really appreciate you all tonight. I do. I do. Thank you all for sharing some things with me. I'm going to share one more thing with you. I always have my little notes too, because I don't want to really get too far off the subject. I will. I will jump right on off the subject and forget to go back to it. But I did want to talk to about let me try. I'm trying to find. Let me look at my notes. I'm looking. All right. I talked about macros, the macronutrients that we need every day, the proteins, the carbs, the fats. And then when we think about those things, we want to think about them as fuel that keeps the engine running. Okay. That's how you can think about it. Okay. And then the protein is a building block. It is very important for us to have protein. If we don't get protein in something, whether it's plant protein or animal protein, then we might as well hang it up, right? So we need that protein one way or the other. Some examples of it. Oh, let me tell you what it does to you, because some people don't know this. Protein becomes your best friend. Why? It keeps you full. It protects muscles. It helps recovery. It supports healthy hair, supports your skin, supports healing. And examples of protein would be chicken, of course, turkey, fish, Greek yogurt, eggs, cottage cheese, beans, tofu, and protein shakes. All right. So those are considered proteins. So that's a macro. The macro also, macronutrients, you got your carbs. So you know with your carbs, it says this is where some of us start sweating. Hence Kim J. Carbs have gotten, and a lot of people, not just type 2 diabetics, but even people that are not diabetic, carbs have gotten a bad reputation, y'all. But our bodies actually use carbohydrates for energy, especially our brains. The brain needs carbohydrates. That might be why we have some brain fog as well, because we're not getting enough carbs. So when you think about it like that, that's something to think about, y'all. Truth be told, yes. All right. So, especially doing shrimp training, that's what Miss Bellflower was talking about. Especially if you're trying to build muscle. Yes, Kim J is trying to build muscle. She needs it. The key isn't simply eating more carbs. It's choosing quality carbs more most of the time. Okay. So it's not just carbs, not just eating carbs galore, right? It's the type of carbs you're eating as well. So think sweet potatoes, brown rice, oats, beans, fruit, quinoa, whole grains, and vegetables. Those are some carbs that are good to eat. Now, I'm not gonna lie. I like white rice too. Okay, I will eat brown, but I like white better. Now, with brown rice to me tastes like cardboard. It really does. Okay, so I do cook brown rice a little longer to make it kind of puff up a little bit. But then not only that, I will also put a little bit of chicken broth in it or beef broth. Okay, just to give it a little extra oomph, you know. And I put a little bit of pepper in it and maybe a little bit of dash seasoning. Okay, whatever, depending on what I'm eating with it. Yes, so that way it tastes much better. The same thing with the quinoa. I will not eat quinoa by itself, but I will eat brown rice and quinoa together. And I've grown to like it, right? By doing stuff like that. That helps me. I don't eat oats unless we're talking about oatmeal cookie. Okay, no raisins, please. So I don't really do oats. I love beans. I don't eat a lot of them, but I'm learning to eat beans. It's okay for people that are type 2 diabetic. I know a long time ago they were acting as if, you have to stay away from all, high carb foods, but beans are okay. Beans are actually very, very good for you. It has a lot of the beans have a lot of fiber in it, a lot, so it's going to, kind of blunt the spike of sugar. So it's okay to have beans. So I'm adding more beans in my life. Yes. Fruit is okay to eat. You want to be careful, of course, these things in moderation, but that's okay to eat quinoa, whole greens, like I said, whole grains. I'm sorry. You're talking your breads, excuse me. You can do that, and then, like I said, veggies. Um, and then you have health, and then your healthy fats, right? Your healthy fats. We're talking healthy fats aren't something to fear either, right? So a lot of people are like, I ain't getting hard. I'm getting 28 grams of fat. That may not be enough for you. It might not be sustainable for you, um, in a healthy way. So something you can do is that you can eat. Well, let me tell you this. It helps you first with your hormones. It can kind of help balance out the hormones naturally, brain health, satiety, vitamin absorption. Yes. Okay. So we're talking examples is avocado, olive oil, salmon, SALMON. Take don't act like that L not there. Salmon, nuts and seeds. Those are good healthy fats. Okay. And they don't have avocado oil on here, but avocado oil is a healthy fat as well. All right. And then you have, which I use a lot of, I will use rather not a lot of, I use it sparingly. All right. And then you have your micronutrients. Those are macronutrients, but these are your macros. All right, so we're switching gears now to the vitamins and the minerals. Okay, that's the micronutrients. So micronutrients don't provide calories, but they're just as important. These include our vitamins and our minerals. Without enough of them, our bodies cannot function well. Okay, low energy, poor recovery, muscle cramps, hair thinning, brain fog, weak immune systems. Does any of these sound familiar to you all? If you've had those things, it could be because you don't get enough micronutrients, right? And maybe that's why some of those carbs, we do get a little tired, right? We have the low energy because it's not enough fiber in it, right? So if you eat the complex carbs, which is like the carbs that have the whole grain carbs, then that may help with so you won't have a lack, so you won't have a low energy level after eating them. All right. So yes, and then some nutrients actually work better together. That's something that a lot of people don't talk about. Doctors don't even talk about it. How the nutrients work better together. So I'm going to give you a couple of them. Some vitamins actually help each other. You know, you may have heard of vitamin D. Sometimes we need vitamin D. We may not be getting enough in our diets, depending on how we're eating. But we can also get vitamin D from the sun. Okay, that's the best form of vitamin D, is to get it from that sun, right? And whole foods. However, you need to add vitamin K2 to your vitamin D3, right? And so the vitamin D3 helps your body absorb calcium, which is another vitamin we need. And the vitamin K2 helps direct that calcium into your bones and teeth instead of your soft tissues. So that's why you want to pair those two together. You don't want to just do vitamin 3 and no vitamin K2 to go with it. This is why, okay? So they make a great team, all right? Then we have, and I should have, let me hold up, Haley, because I done got into something. I need to really make sure I put this here. All right. I should have had that on there a long time ago. All right. So that's what's important. Now, when it comes to vitamin C plus iron, all right, vitamin C helps your body absorb plant-based iron. Examples, spinach with strawberries, beans with tomatoes, iron supplements with orange juice. Okay. That's what we can, do that. These are just examples. I'm not telling you this is what you have to do, but these are just examples of why it's so important to make sure that we're having our micronutrients, our vitamins, our minerals as well, right? And then pairing them together, which one needs to, pair with something else, because you want to make sure you get the maximum benefit of taking these supplements that a lot of us take now. Magnesium plus vitamin D, they go together. Magnesium helps your body use vitamin D efficiently and supports muscles and nerves. Okay, that too is a reason why you want those two together, magnesium and vitamin D. All right. So some nutrition that don't go together, okay, that don't get along together. It's like this. Iron iron and calcium completes for absorption. So if you are taking both supplements, it's often best to separate them because iron and calcium complete, they help with absorption, right? So you don't want to take it together. Too much zinc can lower copper levels over time. So you don't want to have too much zinc. Yes, you need it, but you don't want too much of it. Coffee and tea can reduce iron absorption when consumed with iron-rich meals or supplements. You don't want to drink coffee and tea at times when you're consuming iron-rich supplements or meals, because then it will reduce the absorption of the iron that you're trying to, intake. Right? We're trying to absorb iron if we have issues with iron. So if we drink a coffee with it or a tea with it, then it's going to reduce the effects of it. All right. And then again, like I said, foods, we need to get these vitamins in our foods first. Okay. And then use those supplements as a secondary, mechanism to help us, as a tool to help us, when we can't get enough from the foods. All right. So one thing my dietitian reminded me of is that food comes first whenever possible. Right. And then we want to make sure that we understand that foods give us fiber, um, phytonutrients, um, antioxidants, healthy fats, water, things supplements simply can't fully replace. All right. These things supplements can't fully replace. So that's why, you want to make sure that you're getting this stuff from food first. All right. Foods that are usually easier to get naturally. So your vitamin C, you can get it naturally through foods, easier. Folate, fiber, protein, and healthy fats. All those foods you can naturally get, those vitamins, all right, through foods. And then some nutrients can be harder to get consistently through food alone, depending on your diet and your health needs. Vitamin D, vitamin B12, for some people, especially those eating mostly plant-based or with certain absorption issues, you got your omega-3s. If you don't eat fatty fish regularly, like salmon, trout, and things of that nature, also check with your healthcare provider before starting any supplements, right? But I know a lot of us, take supplements because, we may not be getting supplements through our, regular food. So we want to be careful how we're pairing our supplements together and what pairs better with what, and those things that may not pair well together at all. Okay. Not saying you can't, do those things, but you may have to, separate, do them within hours of each other versus right at the same time. All right. So why bigger isn't always better. The one thing when it comes to that is I used to think that if I eat less, which I said earlier, and that I would lose more. Okay. But that's not always true. And that's what the dietitian is trying to teach me. That's not always true. Even when on a GLP-1 medication, right? Eating too low or too little can make it harder to hit the protein goals, right? It can be harder to get enough vitamin and minerals, that I need every day, right? It can increase my fatigue. It can reduce my workout performance, and it can make it more difficult to preserve my muscle, right? And that's what I want to preserve, my muscle. All right. And then so a moderate calorie deficit is okay, and it supports healthy, a healthy regimen, right? Or a healthy what is it called, Lord? Um Healthy lifestyle, right? Thank you, Lord. But and it supports more sustainable fat loss, right, while helping protect lean mass. So that's why it's important to make sure that we are not thinking that we have to eat less or we have to, in order to lose more, right? Sometimes some people need to, like I said, level up. I've heard people talking about, calorie cycling. So they are on a deficit or a cut for so many weeks, and then they go back up to their maintenance calories for so many weeks, and then they just go back and forth. That is calorie cycling. Okay. And that kind of tricks your body to say, oh yeah, we good, it's nothing wrong with us, we're not, you don't have to, we're not in starvation mode and things of that nature. So that's another reason why it's good. Probably for I think it's good for me to go ahead and try to titrate up a little bit more on those calories as well as these carbs. And so yeah, uh, and then even with GLP-1 medications, GLP-1 medications naturally reduce our appetite, of course. And then every bite has to count. So we want to make sure whatever we're eating, that we're eating the right sources, having quality foods if we're not being able to eat as much. That way we can try to get as many macronutrients and micronutrients as we possibly can, just in case we don't hit the calorie count every day. Okay. You want to make sure it's quality food. And then you may have to, um, or I may have to, eat more times, smaller meals, more times a day. I figure that out as I go, because I can't eat but so much in one meal, So the 3 times a day or the 2 times a day and a snack or whatever I'm doing, I may have to spread it out a little bit more so I can make sure I'm getting enough nutrients in to fuel my body, to protect my muscle, to support, my recovery when it comes down to exercising and to meet my nutrient needs. Okay. So that's what I'm trying to do. So my homework before Friday, and I'm done, is that I'm not making any drastic changes today. Okay. But I am trying to make sure I do certain things. So like tracking, I'm getting that down packed. I'm starting early before I really get deep off into the conversation with her about, the whys on why I'm going up to the calories that she wants me to, and why am I trying to get up to the carbs that she wants me to get up to. But I can start at least with tracking, okay, and meal prepping, right? Also, I'm not trying to make drastic changes. I'm trying to just gather as much information as I possibly can. Knowledge is power, right? Knowledge is still power. And so, me tracking consistently is important to me. Writing down the questions that I have. Thank you all again for sharing things with me in this on this platform. Let me see who said something. Sorry, Miss Jolene, not reading chat, listening in. That's okay. That's why I said it out loud because I figured you may be moving around, Shiny. So yeah, learning things, here and there, and then just not letting fear stop me from doing things that might be best for me. I told y'all in January that I'm not trying to lead with fear anymore. I am, even if I am fearful, I'm doing it afraid, right? Even if I'm fearful, I'm doing it afraid. So I'm excited about it. This next journey. I want to have the knowledge to make better decisions. That's what I'm trying to do. Make sure I have the knowledge to make better decisions. Not trying to be difficult, but just trying to, make best decisions for me and my body, right? So, um, I know God has given me this temple to make sure that I am using it to the best of my ability to take care of this temple, right? So, in order for me to take care of my temple, I need to make sure that I'm eating healthier. And so, this also is a spiritual thing for me, not just a healthy, physical thing. It is going to help me mind, body, spirit, and soul. All of the things that I talk, that I look into and try to make sure that I'm leveling up in, right? Um, and not because it's a bad thing or that I've been doing such bad things on this journey, but because I know it's going to, prepare me for my next season, right? Trying to figure this stuff out, trying to prepare for this next season, year 2 on my journey. And then also just thinking differently is going to help me. Like I said, when I have a positive mindset, it's going to help me, you know, do this with more grace. Okay. I will have more grace in doing so if I think of it in the right way, right? So Proverbs 3 and 5 through 6, Proverbs chapter 3, 5 through 6 in the New International Version, it says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall make your path straight, or in all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight. I don't know exactly what my nutrition plan will look like after Friday's appointment, right? But I do know this. I'm learning to, or I'm willing I am willing to learn and ask questions and trust the process one step at a time. Okay. I am willing to learn, ask questions, and trust the process one step at a time. Okay. One day at a time, one meal at a time. Okay. That's what I'm doing. And so this week, I want to challenge all of us, me included, that we, track our foods, and we know that we need to level up in that we do that. So we'll know what we're looking at. I know, like I said, Hajarine has talked about it, tracking her foods in this live, so I think, I'm happy that she's, on board as well. So God must have put it in her heart to do that too, but making sure that we're getting the right amount of calories, a right amount of macronutrients as well as micronutrients, trying to do as much as we possibly can, to make sure that we are living healthier, right? We're on, for those who are on a GLP-1 medication, we use this, like I said, as a tool. And so tracking is a tool as well. Making sure you get the right nutrients to fuel your body, that's so important for us, so that we can make sure that we are healthy beings, that we are able to live a long life, and that we're excited and have a prosperous life, right? That's what we're trying to do. These type things will help us never go back to our old habits, right? That way you can kind of, even calm your mind about thinking that, you may go back at some point. I know some people feel like, well, I've done this before, I've lost the weight, and they don't want to celebrate themselves for losing the weight on this journey here. But if we do these type habits, we put these type habits in place, it will help us in the long run. Not just use the medication or the VSG surgeries, or things like, or the fad diets. Not just use that for the moment, but we're trying to build healthier habits, you know, lifelong, so that we will have no issues doing it. It will become tracking, to me, if I continue to do it, it will become so easy for me. It would be nothing for me to do it. It will be something that I do, you know, without hesitation, just like putting on some shoes or putting on some clothes, brushing my teeth. I'm just going to do it, no question about it. So, yes. So, I'm just going to make sure that I'm doing everything I possibly can, or what have you. And so, I would let you all know, how Friday's appointment goes. I may talk a little bit about it on Tuesday, and hopefully we'll be able to, she's going to go over my tracking of my food that I track, well, all the stuff that I track on my net diary, this last week and a half or so. And I'm willing and ready to sit at her feet to learn more about, the things that I need to do going forward, right? So yes, that's what I want to share with you all tonight. I greatly appreciate everyone that has come in tonight, everyone that has, given me some information, to help me along, this journey of better nutrition, leveling up with nutrition. I do appreciate you all for coming in. Again, I appreciate my Becoming Inner Circle, for being there, holding it down, being my accountability partners. I also appreciate you, just the entire Sweet Life Squad, for rocking with your girl, all this time. I greatly appreciate it. I love you all so much. With the love of the Lord, I wish the best for you all. And I thank you all for coming in tonight. I hope the rest of your week is runs smooth for you, that, everything works well for you and you enjoy yourself. Thank you, Miss Virginia. She said, you got this, Kim J. Thank you, thank you, thank you. She said, great information. Hello, Latanya. How you doing? Hope you are doing well, sweetheart. That's okay. Look, that's the great thing about YouTube. You can replay it if you miss some things or whatever. I think this was a very good live tonight. I do appreciate you all for participating. Yes, it's sometimes hard to just talk and then don't have nobody talking back to you, So at least for me. But yes, I do appreciate you all for coming in and talking with me, talking this out, helping me through this, giving me some suggestions that I can put, that I think I can put to great use. I do appreciate that. So, and I encourage it, in my chats, right? Yeah. So of course, I thank you all for making sure that this is a place that is, judgment free, right? That there's no shame and no guilt, and no judgment within this Sweet Life Squad. I appreciate you so much for that. Right? Some of us have thin skin, y'all. And I know some people like telling it like it is, right? But sometimes, you can still tell it, but in a certain way to make sure that, you feel the love from it, right? So I do appreciate you all for that so much. I really do. I really do. I really do. Thank you so much. All right, I'm gonna leave y'all. It's all hearts and minds clear. It's all hearts and minds clear. Thank you so much, Miss Jolene. Dr. DeBoss would say, have a great night, everyone. Cheers to all of us who on this journey. Thank you so much. That is a wonderful way to end this live, Miss DeBoss Way. That's why she the boss lady, y'all. All right, love y'all. Peace out. Until next time. So true, Kim J. Good night. Good night, sweetheart. Good night. And thanks for coming in.